I researched and interviewed 10 millionaires, and here's what they all had in common. I sat down with actually 10 self-made millionaires, different industries, different stories. But, plot twist, they all had a few traits in common. And no, it's actually not what you think. Not luck, not just being early, not even just working 80-hour weeks. They had strategies, they had mindsets, habits that literally anyone watching this video could adopt. We're all the same. So today, what I want to do is I want to walk you through exactly what they shared with me and how you can apply it immediately into your business, your career, and actually your life. If you're aiming for success, not just someday, but soon, well, maybe this is your blueprint. All right, let's get into it. Here's the thing I noticed early on. Not a single person I interviewed was trying to do everything. They don't just chase shiny objects. They don't, juggle 10 side hustles. They pick one path and they go all in. One of them said, I'd rather be world class at one thing than average at 5. Let that sit in for a second. These people have the same distractions that we do. Email, family, friends, social stuff, kids, all that stuff. But actually chose to not get distracted. They measure opportunities against their one main thing. So if it doesn't align, they go, no, not a maybe, it's actually a flat out no. So here's your takeaway. What's the one thing you're actually doing right now? Or what distractions do you need to cut so you can go all in? These millionaires don't have 5 a.m. ice baths and 3-hour morning rituals. They don't have that time. Their rituals are really simple, but they're actually consistent. Well, they actually do wake up early, and yep, they do exercise. Most of them said 45 minutes is the goal. They set daily priorities, they review numbers, they reflect on wins and losses, and they look after their body and their nutrition. One of them told me, every Friday I do a non-negotiable review. What worked? What didn't? Where did I waste time? Not fancy, not complex, but the consistency is where the power is. It's actually not about being perfect. It's about being predictable. Guess to who? Yourself. So why don't you try this? Build your own 3-step daily flow. Then commit to it for 30 days and track the difference. This was a massive one. Every single millionaire I talked to said exactly the same thing. You know what? Launch at 70%, get your product out there and then refine later. You know what kills more businesses than failure? Actually waiting too long. Waiting for the perfect product, the perfect timing, the perfect website. These people actually move fast. They test, they learn, and they fail fast and adjust. Right? One of them was, super quick with everything that they did, and then they got client feedback and they moved it around. Now, if they waited until it was done, guess what? They'll probably be still waiting. So what are you maybe delaying right now because something's not perfect? You know what? Speed wins always. None of these people built their empire by working 16 hours a day and forever. They actually got to marketplace and then they used levers, right? And I love this. They said, how can we have smart leverage? How do we get the best out of people, surround ourselves with good people? How do we have systems in place? How can we create automations? And how do we actually get speed to market with everything that we do? Now, one of them actually runs a very, very highly successful construction company, right? And what they told me was that one of the things that they focused on was they could have had, 10 different divisions and they didn't. They focused on one until it got them to where they want to get to. Actually, it was high 8-9 figures, right? Now, it's amazing what you can do when you start to, get really focused about what you do. So, and most importantly, they said automation helps and things like tech helped as well. So I actually want to ask you, what have you used in maybe lately in tech and automation? And what have you delegated? 100% of them actually said every single one. They all had exactly the same thing. On top of this, then they used coaches. They were able to invest in themselves, to grow themselves, because the time that they used to help through automation, the time they used leveraging people, now they wanted to leverage themselves, right? I mean, that's amazing. I want you to really listen to this, right? If you think about this, one of them actually told me, they said, if I had to figure out all of this on my own, they'd be growing at 1x speed, but a mentor compressed literally 5 years of mistakes into a 1 hour call. And all of them were not too proud to ask for help. They paid for clarity. They read books, they took courses, they joined networks, and they had coaches, right? See, guess what? Success leaves clues, and they're always on the lookout. Here's the mindset that you could use. You don't have to be the smartest, but you do have to stay curious, and you want to stay coachable. And here's something that was really surprising. Not one of them judged their success actually just based on revenue. So if you're just thinking revenue, that isn't success. They spoke about things like, time freedom, like impact they had on the community, right? Their family, their health, their creative expression. The money actually was a byproduct, not the finish line. One said, I stopped chasing money when I actually realized I wanted a rich life, not just a big bank account. I mean, how profound is that, right? The perspective changes how you build your business. And it's probably the reason they stayed actually successful without burning out. Now, here's a little bit of homework. You ask yourself the question, what does rich actually look like for you? Define it and maybe build around that. All right, now let's recap some of the traits with every single one of these millionaires and what they shared with me. Number 1, focus on one goal. Number 2, simple, consistent routines are critical. Number 3, speed over perfection. Number 4, leverage over hustle. And number 5, they're always learning through mentors and resources, right? They define success actually on their own terms. Now, none of these traits actually require luck, a rich uncle, or a viral movement. They do require decisions, habits, and clarity. So now I want you to ask, which one of these traits do you already have? Which ones are the ones that you're working on? And which one that if you focused on it this month would actually change everything about your business? Now, I love interaction, so I'd love you to drop it in the comments and tag somebody who's building their 7 or 8 figure business and maybe could use this blueprint right now. They actually need to hear this too. Now, if this helped, like and subscribe, because I can tell you that this is just the beginning.